Welcome, Right Riders. Thank you so much for joining me on today's live stream. If you're catching this on the replay, thanks for watching. Sorry we missed you. Today we're going to talk about how to sell more no content and low content books. More importantly, I'm going to cover the 7 ways that I see where people might not be getting the best value by 7 mistakes, if you will, that people are making. But first, do you like free stuff? I love free stuff. And you know what's free? Subscribing. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and drop kick that bell icon. Not literally, because you drop kick it and then you might not be able to watch the rest of this content. So just take your mouse and 1, 2, 3 and click. So you get alerted every time I put out something new. Let's check out the chat and see who's in the house. Looks like we got 4 or 5 people right now. Might be a little lurking. Don't be shy. Drop comments. Anyway, I don't want to waste anybody's time, so we're going to get started. Now, if you don't know anything about what's going on with no content books right now are like the fidget spinners of self-publishing. They're fairly easy to do and reasonably inexpensive to make, and everybody is doing them. So in order to make yourself stand out, there's a couple things you should do. ES Hart, how you doing? Glad to see you in the chat. So again, like I said, I'm going to cover the 7 mistakes, if you will, that I see people making. That if you just remedy these, you can sell a lot more no content and low content books. And number 1, riding someone else's wave. You know, there are a lot of people out there that are being quite successful in no content books. But jumping into their niche that they've already done isn't necessarily going to give you the same sales. So my suggestion is find something that you're passionate about and jump into that particular niche. And the reason why is for multiple reasons, but one, because you're passionate about it, you know the inside lingo, you know all of the certain things, certain keywords that other people that aren't familiar with that niche might know or might not know. So again, stick with something that you're passionate with, and especially if it's proven that it'll work, then build off of that. And number 2, working too fast. And this is something that CreateSpace actually recently tried to put a stop to, which is people uploading hundreds of thousands of journals in a short period of time. And I understand the methodology behind that. A lot of people want to, get ahead, get ready for Q4, but you don't want to jeopardize quantity, or you don't want to jeopardize quality over quantity. The most important thing is to have quality journals out there, especially as saturated as the market is getting. You've got to make yours stand out, and quality is the way to do that. Hey Kevin, nice to see you in the house. So again, don't try to work too fast. Now I'm not saying only put out one journal. You know your own limits as far as how you can balance quality and quantity. And number 3, going too deep in an unproven niche. And just elaborate on that more, an unproven niche for you. Just because a certain niche works for me, that doesn't mean that you should go in there and do 100 different versions in that same niche. Because again, like I said, if it's not your passion, you don't know the keywords, you don't know the inside lingo, even just your design. If you don't know that niche, you may not know what is expected in that particular niche, or something that resonates more with that particular group of buyers. So again, don't go too deep into a niche that's not proven. Now, what's too deep? I personally only do anywhere between 3 to 5 in a given niche. All depends on how long it takes me to create those particular journals. Obviously, I don't want to spend a lot of time in a niche that's not proven. So again, make sure that you don't go too deep into a specific niche unless it's proven to work for you specifically. Number 4, doing the same covers. And I've seen so many people do this. And Cover Creator, I actually use it on some of my journals and notebooks. But there's still different templates you can use, different colors you can use. That's the other thing is I see people doing all of their journals and they're all black and white. Now, again, I have black and white journals myself, but spicing it up by adding a few colors, especially if it's your passion and you know that niche, you may know what colors work best. For example, one of my niches, and yes, I'm going to share a niche, is softball. Anybody who's been around long enough knows that I love softball and it's really big in my family, so I know a lot about that particular sport and that particular group of people. And so some of my journals are a softball color yellow, and they sell quite a bit. Whereas a black and white won't really sell too much in that particular niche. So again, going back to number 1, knowing your niche and sticking with something that you're passionate about. But again, change up the colors. Change up either the colors, the designs, maybe the font type, font size. Just again, not the same thing, because especially if you're using a pen name for it, if someone clicks on that pen name, they don't want all of your journals to look exactly the same, because then it's not interesting to them. Perfect example is if you went to a gas station and all they sold was gas, they're really not going to make that much money. But at gas stations, they sell food, they sell drinks, they sell oil for your car. They probably have a bakery, because they diversify. They're not just doing one specific thing. Number 5, keywords. Now, there are a lot of people out there that say don't go crazy with your keywords, and I agree in a certain extent. If you're doing 3 to 5 books in a given niche, don't use the same 5 or 7 keywords for all of those books. Instead, find different relevant keywords and key phrases that you can use on the different books. That way you can find out which ones are working. And so as you go, weeks or months down the road, you can tweak which ones are working, which ones aren't. So in the end, yes, most of your journals in that particular niche may have quite similar keywords, but to begin with, spread the list of keywords that you have, spread them out over the different books that you've done, so that way you can find out which keywords are working the best for your particular niche. I've got 2 more that I want to talk about, but first I want to check out the chat because it's starting to get a little lively over here. I said hello to ES Hart. Kevin's in the house. Let's see, Black Moon 2004. Glad to see you. Let's see, Sandra's in the house. The Underground Toy Society. Glad to have you here. I'm just going to answer a few questions. Let's see. ES Hart, I always ask myself, why would I buy the books? That is a wonderful idea. Why should they buy your book? Why should they buy your book over the next one, regardless of price? I have books that are priced higher than others in that particular niche, and they still buy mine. But the question is, I'm able to answer why they should buy mine. Why is mine different? Why is mine better? Again, focusing on the quality, not the quantity. Black Moon 2004. The problem is getting your quality books noticed. Yes, the market is extremely saturated. You are correct. I'm not talking about that in here, but you may run AMS ads if you want. And if it's within your budget. Now, I will say AMS ads, and I did an entire series on AMS ads, so I'm not going to go into it too detailed right now, but you can run ads as low as $1 and $1 a day. And unlike Facebook ads, when you put a budget in there, AMS very seldom hits my budget, even when I set it for $1 or $2 a day. So it's not like where Facebook, if you put $20, they're gonna hit that $20 guaranteed. So, keep that in mind. I actually sometimes I'll set a budget of, $50, but I keep an eye on those to make sure that it doesn't go too far to that 50. But that also, the amount you set it for, the algorithm figures out how many people they can send it out to, because the system has to assume that if I send it out to everybody and everybody clicks, am I going to hit this $50 limit? So what you don't want to do is, or at least understand that if you set a $1 limit, it's not going to go out to as many people than if you set out a $50 limit, even though it may not hit the $50 for that day. So again, if you're going to set it higher than I would never set it higher than what you can afford, but if you set it higher than what you really would like to, then make sure you keep a strong eye on it throughout the day, and pause it if it starts getting too high. Okay. Thanks for this talk. You're very welcome. I'm glad you're listening, Sandra. Black Moon 2004, is that 3 to 5 in a niche or sub niche? How deep do I go? Sub or sub niche? It depends. It depends on if it's my passion. If it's my passion, then I'll probably sub niche it because I know it inside and out. If I don't know that particular niche, and I'm not saying, obviously, it's not realistic for, especially if you plan on doing a lot of journals, it's not realistic that you only stay within stuff that you know. But what I'm saying is, that's where you want to start, because those are the ones that that inside information, so you got a much better chance of being successful right off the bat than if you jump into something that you don't know anything about. And you'll also be able to spend a lot less time researching if you already know that niche than if it's something that's new to you. As long as you do your research and do your due diligence, you still can be successful in a niche that you're not familiar with. But always, the best success I've found has been starting at home, starting with what I am the most passionate about. And also, if you're passionate about it, it doesn't really feel like work when you're doing the little bit of research, or you're trying to post it on different sites or whatever. So I say, if it's a niche that you're familiar with, then I would do 3 or 5 within a sub niche. If you're not familiar with it at all, I wouldn't even drill down to sub niches until you know that it's going to sell within that one particular niche as a general rule. Again, I'm not saying it has to sell 10 or 20. But if you get one sale, at least that tells you there's somebody out there that likes what you have that's in that group. Then yes, you can either do more in that general niche, or you can sub niche it down. And depending on the what the niche is, you may not be able to sub niche it too far. And I'm saying the word niche an awful lot. Let's see, E.S. Hart. I've seen a lot of those black and white journals also, and it makes me shake my head. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I have quite a few of the black and white ones, but those are from my early journal days. Ironically, even before this whole no content went out there, I actually had a softball journal already out, and it was by far my best seller, even better than some of my actual content books. They're actually written books. So it's crazy. But yes, there are a ton of black and white journals out there. And, and a lot of it is, people try to have that mentality where, I want to keep it simple, and I want, black and white, that's clean. And it is, but it also gets really, really boring. So, again, spice things up. I've got books that are, like I said, journals that are black and white, but then I went and I picked, just like I said, 3 to 5 in a given niche. And, I just did two to 4 different colors. So I still have my black and white one, but then I also have, red and white, black and blue, whatever, just a different combination. Make sure it looks good. Again, going back to the whole quality, but, like I said, purple, the generics, purple, pink, blue, red, those kind of things are general enough that, and they're primary colors and stuff like that. They're popular for a reason. So again, make sure that you do a little bit of research for your particular niche and find out what colors kind of correlate with that particular, whether it's a sport or a hobby or anything like that. Because there may be, like, for example, if you were doing a football niche, if you did a cover that had like that football pigskin looking texture to it, and you made it brown, it might sell very well with with white text on it, because the white seams on the football, just something like that. So again, just know your niche, and if you don't know, I mean, you can even Google what colors are associated with and whatever area you're looking at. I would say area instead of niche that time. Okay, wow, getting a lot of comments. Let's see. Underground Toy Society. I've been thinking about making a book for kids to write their own stories about their toys at the Underground Toy Society, but I don't know if kids would like it or not. There's only one way to find out, is to make it. I don't know if you saw it already, but I've actually done 2 no content interior videos. The very first one, both of them, I made a playlist and they're linked in the show notes below, but I actually show how to make a children's storybook, blank storybook. So if you want some ideas on how to set it up, again, it's in the comments below, or in the show notes below. Let's see. Jen Carter, hey, glad you're here. Jenny Dunham, welcome. The Underground Toy Society, my granddaughter would have loved this when she was younger. She wrote many stories about dolls, etc. Yeah, I mean, kids love to tell stories. So, I mean, if you think back to your childhood, I'm sure you'd like to tell stories too. Whether they're telling stories, telling fibs, or they're just telling general stories. Either way, they love it. I mean, they actually teach that in school. They'll give them, especially in preschool. My mom's a preschool teacher, and they have blank storybooks. So absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine it wouldn't do well. And then I know that you do a lot of craft shows and stuff like that. So definitely having them there, where maybe even if you want to add a little bit to it, you can and this is great for fiction writers. Fiction writers, I don't want you to think that this is all about no content. I mean, it is, but it's not all for nonfiction. For you can take certain key points in your book and create a no content book for it, like a storyboard or what have you, and give them a little prompt that basically is the fans, the readers' ability to rewrite that particular section. Maybe they didn't, if they're big at Twilight. I know a lot of people are Twilight fans, and maybe they don't like the fact, I don't want to do spoiler, but maybe they don't like the fact that Jacob got put on the back burner. That was Belle and Edward. So they can write a different storyline. So even if you have nonfiction book that you've written, you can do a no content complimentary book for the readers. And like I said, just pick, again, between 3 and 5. If you want to do less, that's fine, but I wouldn't do more than 5 different key areas for that happen in your book, and give them a chance to rewrite it. So that's just an idea for our fiction fans out there. I mean, I actually I'm finishing up editing my first YA novel, so I feel you, and I actually plan on having a complimentary no content book to go along with it. But great question, and Jenny Dunham, great comment that your granddaughter would love that. Underground Toy Society, good to know. Jenny is my sister's name, by the way. E.S. Hart, question: have you merged your CreateSpace books with Amazon yet? I assume by Amazon you mean KDP, and no, I have not. With fourth quarter coming up, I want to spend all of my time focusing on getting good quality books, whether it's no content or written books, out. I'm not going to worry about doing all that behind the scenes stuff. I'm going to wait until KDP basically makes me. Now, I will say I have started putting more books on KDP, but as far as doing a switch over, I have not done that. I do know that KDP, or CreateSpace, a lot of people haven't even gotten the alert in their account, which I haven't. And the reason why, in my opinion, I'm going to guess, is they probably planned on doing a slow rollout. I'm a computer programmer by trade, and so I understand you don't want just everybody jumping in to your system all at once. What I think Amazon wasn't really thinking about is the fact that people talk. So as soon as someone sees something as urgent as, and as important as CreateSpace is basically going away and merging with KDP, even if you didn't get that alert, you know about it. Everybody's talking about it. People are doing videos about it. So I think KDP planned on doing it a slower rollout than what's happening, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of glitches within KDP, because I don't think that they were expecting that, or that they were ready for that amount of people jumping into the system all at the same time. So to answer your question, no, I have not moved my old stuff over to KDP, but I am publishing new stuff on KDP, depending on what is my journals. I still do that on CreateSpace. I'm not gonna change my plans for that. So I'm gonna keep doing that on CreateSpace until I'm not allowed to do it anymore. But my nonfiction books, as well as my fiction books, those I'm all uploading to KDP. And a lot of that is just because I can run AMS ads directly to them, so it's just easier for me. But if I'm going to use the cover creator, I'm going to do it on CreateSpace. If I have my own cover, then yeah, I'll put that on KDP. Self-publish in the house. Hey buddy, how you doing? Let's see. E.S. Hart saying hi to Dale. Thanks, Dale. You love the format. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of the header? I got to give a huge shout out to Dale. When I got to 100 subs, he went out of his way to kind of give this whole channel a new look and a new feel. The thumbnails, everything. That's all because of Mr. Kelly Publish over there, Dale L. Roberts. Let's see. Just everybody. Amazon is broken. Kelly Publish in the house. Hey, Kelly. Let's see. It's hard. I'm just saying hi to everybody. All right. So, looks like if I missed your question, put it in there again. But we went through the first 5 mistakes that I see people making, why their no content book might not be selling. And just as a disclaimer, I can't promise that what I'm saying is going to help you, is going to make money for you. But these are just based on my experience, suggestions that I would make to better your chances of getting sales. We all know it's a numbers game, but we want to better our chances between our top 20%, or 20% of our books are bringing in the money, or 10% of our books are making the money. So to try to better our chances, I would suggest not making these mistakes and kind of fixing them. So number 6 is your description. And again, these things go for more than just no content books, but especially for no content books. Think of a no content book like it is, which is, it's basically a nonfiction book. So you don't need to do a lot of salesy stuff. I would suggest having just maybe one sentence to kind of draw their attention in. And just like with any other nonfiction book, bullet points. Bullet points sell. And when someone's looking for a blank journal or something like that, the last thing they want to do is read. So don't give them a lot of garbage to read inside your description. Just give them bullet points. Tell them what's in it for them. How many pages are in it? What's the size? You want to throw in there whether it's matte or glossy, anything like that. Again, showing them what is important about your book and why they want it, or why they should want it. And then at the end, you can either tell them to, if you have any, if this isn't what you're looking for, check out, the rest of our listing, if you're using a pen name for all of it, or you can just do a little blurb that says, go to, get yours today, scroll up and click buy, or whatever, however you want to word it. But again, don't get too wordy. When it comes to nonfiction books, from my experience, less is more, but make sure, just like with your book itself, that it's quality, that what they're going to read, you make sure that it stands out, whether that means using HTML or just that it's things that they care about. Don't bother putting in a big explanation as to why you created it and what they can use it for. I would, like I said, no more than one sentence at the top, and maybe put some HTML so it really stands out, and then just the bullet points. So that brings us to the very last thing, number 7. Spice things up. I have plenty of line journals, but as we've talked about in the chat, there are line journals everywhere. So spice things up. Don't just do line journals. Kind of like, we were talking about before about doing the children's storybook. You can do dot journals, you can do graph paper, you can do, just the ideas are endless. You can do, children's writing for manuscript. I've got videos, like I said earlier, in the show notes. I actually linked to my playlist where I show you how to make everything from, wide ruled and college ruled paper, blank comic books, graph paper, dot journals. All of that, and probably tons of other ones that I can't think of right now. But absolutely, go in there, do something different, make it stand out. This goes back to what I was saying about, being at a gas station. If all you sell, if all a gas station sells is gas, they're not going to make as much money as if they diversify. So try other things in your niche. Make specific, especially if it's your passion and you know it inside and out. Maybe make some custom journals. And I don't say making a lot, especially if it's not in a proven niche, but some custom journals. Yes, it may take you more time to make it, but that means 2 things. One, it's higher quality, which if it's higher quality and it's in a niche that you're familiar with, so you know that there's a need for this particular format, then not only do you have a better chance of selling it, but you can actually sell it for a higher price because it's not just a blank journal. Using the example of my softball niche that I'm in, I have a softball journal, but it's not just a line journal. There are spots where the athlete can go in and put, how they played, whether they, what the score was, what their memories of that game were, everything. So it's more than just a line journal. And that's how you make, we were talking about earlier about how to make your stuff stand out. That's how you make it stand out. Those are things that you want to list in your bullet points. You want to list that it's not just a blank journal. List that there's a place for them to put, all the different information that's in there, that's in your particular book. So again, don't make them all line journals. Obviously, line journals sell. So, like I said, I have line journals. I have no problem with people doing line journals. But think outside the box. Don't just stick with the same old, because it makes you just blend in with everybody else. Regardless of what your cover looks like, a blank journal is a blank journal, or a lined paper is just lined paper. So the way to make your lined paper look better and stand out is make it more than just lines. So whether it's a score keeping book or any of the other things, even if you're doing a lined journal, you can make lines. You can add words to it. You can make a line journal into a prompt book. You can make it into, like if you want to do journals for Bible study and stuff like that, you can have little excerpts in there. And again, make sure that in your bullet points that you put, make sure that you list what is different about this book. Don't get too wordy, because like I said, if they're looking for journals, no content books, they don't want to do a lot of reading. So make it short and concise, and that way they can see what makes yours stand out. And like I said, even though you put a little extra time into it, for one, you can reuse it, especially once it's proven, you can reuse it and just put different covers on it. But you can also sell it at a slightly higher price. So those are all the 7 reasons that I've found reasons why your no content book might not be selling. So if you just change a few of these, you got a much better chance of selling more no content and low content books. Now, I'm gonna bring the lights down a little bit right now. Actually, I have no way to control the lights, so just squint a little bit. That way it looks a little darker. If you've been on my channel for any length of time, you know that my fellow writers mean the world to me. And because of that, you guys are like my second family. So because of that, I make sure that I try to be as honest and as transparent as possible. So I'm going to let everybody know that starting today, I am going to be on temporary hiatus. I'm going to take care of some family stuff, and to be honest, I want to make sure that I focus on Q4 and make Q4 as successful for my family as possible. That doesn't mean I will not be back, because I absolutely will be back. I will still be commenting on every single comment that are on any of my videos. Someone posted the other day that they just put the word dog, so I responded with koala, because koalas happen to be my favorite animal. So I will absolutely still be commenting. I'm not really good on following my own rules, so I'll probably upload some videos from time to time, but I won't be doing the once a week upload schedule right now. So absolutely, even more of a reason why you need to subscribe to the channel, smash the bell icon. That way you do get alerted when I do put out something new. Also, please continue to watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, comment on the videos. Let YouTube know that Right Rider Nation, I just made that up, Right Rider Nation is not going anywhere, okay? So with that, now that all the doom and gloom and sappy stuff is done, let's check out the chat. Man, you guys are just going crazy today. And while I'm trying to catch up on where I'm at, I assume my sound is good today. Leave it to me to make sure that my sound and my video, and there's no issues on my last live stream for now. Okay, let's see. Mr. Kelly published. You like that, huh, Dale? I planned if you were here, and I'm like, I hope he doesn't get offended by that, but I've known you long enough to know you wouldn't. ES Hart, what size journals do you make the most? I would say I make the most probably 6x9s. It depends on my niche. If I'm doing children's book, like you were talking about, maybe doing a children's book, then I would do an 8.5x11. That way they've got more room for their what they're writing and drawing and everything else. So again, it depends on your niche, but based on the niches that I'm doing, most of them, I'd say about 3/4 are 6x9, and then the others are 8.5x11. Good question. Okay, you're okay with you're okay with the title. Let's see. Question. This is from ES Hart. Can I ask you how many journals you have, and when you started publishing these types of books? Again, another good question. I started, my very first journal was actually, ironically, I did back in 2016, and it was the very first book I ever published. Happened to be a softball journal. And it's today, to this date, it's my bestseller so far. And I'm probably going to make some tweaks to it, because I've grown as a content creator. And so, I can definitely make the interior better. I can definitely make the cover better. So I'll probably do another edition of it. But that was when I first did my very first one. As far as doing it more consistently, I would say I've probably just been doing it the last few months, probably 3 months. I don't have a ton out there. I know Kelly Publish has a ton, and there's plenty of people out there that have thousands. I have, the last I checked, I have about 150 no content books over a few different niches. Like I said, some of them are niches that haven't proven to me, so I only did between 3 and 5 in each one. So that's how many I have. I do plan on uploading more. I don't upload the 20-day, 30-day at best. I mean, I have done 30 a day. At best, though, my plan is no more than 10 a day, just because, as everybody knows, I do this part-time. So I've got a full-time job, wife, 4 kids. And so I don't want to, plus I'm editing this novel, which I want to launch by November 1st. And so I'm so far behind on doing that. So so right now I'm doing 10 a day, and I don't do it every day, but when I do, I don't do any more than 10. Okay, Kelly Publish. You like Mr. Kelly Publish? Okay, good. Like I said, I planned that, but I wasn't sure how it was going to go down. But I'm glad it went well. My best Mountain Diva Creations. Welcome, welcome. My best journals are unique log interiors like planners. Wonderful idea, and I'm sure you probably sell them for more than just what you would sell a blank journal for. Because again, they're different. They're unique for that particular niche. So if you don't have to give us the exact amount you're charging for it, but you can just say yay or nay. Are you charging more than what you would do for a blank journal? My blank journals are usually about $6.99 for my lined books. So just yay or nay, or you don't have to answer. That's fine too. Let's see. Rebecca in the house, absolutely. Oh, people typing, jumping around. Yes, that's another thing. Good point. I actually, in my last interior video, it's longer, it's about 30 minutes, but I did show how to add watermarks to make your book stand out, your interiors different as well. Again, making it specific to your niche, whether it's a child's, for boys, you can put a robot on there. For my softball one, I've got a little softball text watermark. Let's see. I'm just you're trying to crack Keith. He's stone cold. You always crack me up, Dale. E.S. Hart. I've been using the watermark image on my line journal interiors for my particular niche and subject. Yeah, wonderful idea. Again, making it unique. 9 watching, 5 likes. Yeah, come on, give the old thumbs up. Come on, smashy. Family is important. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Q4 does rock. Montana Diva Creations. Thumbs up, Kevin. Thank you. Self-publishing. Yes, family first. I'm the man. Well, thanks a lot, Dale. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's like I said, you guys are my second family, but from time to time I got to focus on the first family, and not the first family as in like the president, but anyway. I'm glad Dale said everything's perfect today. Good, I'm glad. Negative banana sticker for me. Oh, because I planned out the Mr. Kelly published. Do you think no content journals in the self-help niche or subcategories are oversaturated? It's a good question, Sandra. I don't think so. I think as long as you find a way to make yours unique and make sure that you are within a reasonable price point, I wouldn't price it too low, because people have a tendency to see something that's priced low and automatically think it's low quality. So I would price it competitively. And the way I always do my pricing is I look at the top 20 in that particular niche, and I look at their prices, and I literally just come up with it. I figure out the average, and that's how I price mine. Obviously, making sure it ends in like a 95, 97, that kind of thing, or 99. But as long as you make your book unique, and especially if it's an area that you're familiar with, you can look at especially the top 10 or 20 and look at their number one, or look at their 1-star ratings or 2-star ratings and see what people are complaining about. And then you make sure that whatever they don't like, you don't do that in your book. And whatever they say that they wish was in it, you add to yours. So basically using other people's negative feedback to make your product that much better. So I really don't think there's in any particular niche, I don't think no content is completely saturated to where you don't have a shot. I think it all comes down to, again, doing quality work, making sure that your book, whether it's the interior or the cover, and again, when I say making the cover, look, I'm not saying spend hours and hours on a cover. You don't necessarily have to do that. Just make sure that it's different. Make sure that it stands out, and that it looks like high quality work. So if everybody in that particular niche is doing, black and white journals, maybe make yours blue and with white lettering. Again, it'll stand out. When someone's scrolling and they see this, this blue cover with white writing, or, with yellow writing or whatever, it's going to definitely stand out. And then when they check out the look inside feature, and that's another important thing, is make sure that, especially if you have some writing in your book, make sure that, because the look inside feature only shows a certain percentage of your book. So make sure that the actual best parts of your book are at the front. So if you've got a couple, if you're doing, something that's got quite a bit of writing at the beginning, even if you just do a sample page in the first 2 or 3, just to show them what they have to expect. Or you can actually do some screenshots, if you will, of the interior and put that on the back cover, because the back cover will show up on the look inside feature. So they can flip the book over, virtually, click on the back, and they can see what the interior is. That way, even if they don't see it through the look inside feature going through your interior pages, they can still see what makes it different. So again, make good quality, a cover that stands out, and then interior that's different. And regardless of how saturated that particular market is, yours will stand out. That was a long answer, but I hope you found it useful. Let's see. E.S. Hart, I've grown as a journal creator thanks to Kelly and Dale Roberts and your great videos. Yeah, Dale and Kelly are crazy amazing. So if you guys don't know, Kelly Publish does, she kills it when it comes to no content books, as well as merch by Amazon. So go check out her channel. It's free, subscribing's free, so go check it out, subscribe. Dale Roberts, anything that has to do with self-publishing, Dale knows all about. I mean, everything I've learned, everything good I've learned from him. Everything bad I kind of learned on my own. But yeah, subscribe to his channel too. I don't see them in the house, but the Mickelson twins, if you want to know about ACX, go check them out. I feel like Oprah. So you get to subscribe. Everybody gets to subscribe. Why not? It's free. Go for it. And I'm not saying that, like I said, I am coming back. So I'm not saying that instead of me. I'm saying in addition. In order for you to be successful, you need to get everybody's input, because everybody has their own little specialty. And so no one's going to get better if you just listen to just one person. If you just listen to me and you don't listen to anybody else, you're not going to be as good as you are if you listen to other people. So I can't attest for everybody, but these are the people that I subscribe to and I listen to, and I have absolutely learned from. So let's see. And getting back to what you were saying, E.S. Hart, I have absolutely grown in my journal content as well. By watching them, as well as just from learning from my own mistakes, learning what sells and learning what doesn't, seeing what's consistent with all the ones that are selling have this consistent, the ones that aren't selling, have this consistent, looking at your own negative comments that you have, if you have comments on your journals, which I know getting comments on journals is so difficult. But I don't, and for the record, I don't search for reviews or beg for reviews or anything else when it comes to my no content books. All of my reviews are all organic. So but if you have any, make sure you pay attention to the 1, 2s, and 3s, and you can grow better as and that goes for even if you're not doing no content book, any kind of author, you will grow from listening and to the comments that people have on your 1, 2s, and 3s. Obviously, you're going to get trolls, and they're going to say stuff that's completely irrelevant, and just ignore them. They're going to happen. The first time I got a troll review, I actually found that I was actually happy about it, because I'm like, wow, I'm getting good enough to where someone's actually taking the time to say something that negative about me. So that doesn't bother me. But yeah, so learn from yourself, learn from others, and you absolutely will continue to become better, whether it's writing, whether it's creating no content books, whatever. Let's see. Montana Diva Creations, absolutely, $10.99 and up. Yeah, so your books, you've spent more time on it, to making the interiors, to making them unique and special for that particular niche, and you're able to see the benefits by charging more money for it. So depending on how many pages you have, your profit margin, but like I said, I sell mine for $6.99 on average. So you're selling it for $4 more than I am, and that's well deserved, because you've spent the time to make that interior. So yes, it's a little extra work, but because it's quantity, you're able to charge more for it. Let's see. Self-published. Thanks for all the kind words, folks. Yeah, we all love you guys. Yes, there are 11 people watching. Yes, thank you so much. 11 thumbs up would be great. If you can find a magic way to have 11 viewers and 12 thumbs up, hey, more power to you. Let's see. everything bad I've learned from my own. Yeah, Kelly, I did. And it's the truth. I've learned some. There's a couple things. Even the advice I've given. Sometimes you don't listen to yourself, and then you kind of kick yourself later. So yeah. So I mean, anything bad I've done is either by not researching it, by not listening to something that I've heard other people warn me about, or by not listening to myself. So yeah, it's everything bad that I've done I've done on my own. Let's see. Question, E.S. Hart, what do you use to make your book covers? I make my book covers using, it depends on the book. I assume you're talking about no content books. No content books, I would say probably 50% of them I use Cover Creator in CreateSpace, and the other 50% I use Canva and GIMP, and I'll kind of make like a Frankenstein type of thing, and I use the two. I'll use Canva to begin with, and then I will tweak it and make it better using GIMP, which both are free if you're not familiar with either one. And I have videos on me using Canva for creating a book cover, and the book cover is actually for one of my no content books. So that's what I use. Again, it's free, and free's right at my price range. So, I mean, they have paid versions, but I don't deal with that. Great question though, E.S. Hart. Keith, are you doing any books that are only related to the holiday season? Good question, Sandra. I know there are plenty of people out there that say you shouldn't focus on, you want to focus on evergreen and don't do anything for, just for the holidays. I don't listen to that. I mean, most of my books are absolutely evergreen, but I do have some books for the holidays, and I do have some no content books. And I'll even tell you, like I said, you guys are family. I'll share. I have a book that is, it's just a regular line journal, but it's got a Christmas type cover. And then I also have a couple, and again, I didn't do more than 3 in this niche because I didn't know how well it was gonna go over. But I did basically a purchasing journal where you write down the gift that you bought the person, who you bought it for, and how much you paid. And so I've got a couple of those as well. It's kind of a like a making a list, checking it twice, naughty or nice kind of list. But yeah, so those are definitely holiday based. I mean, you can use them for more than the holidays. And matter of fact, I've used that interior also for graduations, as well as for like bridal showers. Basically, anytime you're having a party and you're buying stuff for people, I've used it for those niches. Literally just changing the cover. But yeah, those are the few things I've done actually geared towards just the holidays, and towards not just Christmas, but yeah, towards just the holiday season, fourth quarter season. So to answer your question, yes, I've done a few. I don't think I have more than 5 out there, until they start selling, which they should. I mean, we're in early September right now, so I anticipate probably October-ish, late October, that the holiday ones will start selling. And then if I see that some are picking up, then I will definitely double down on those particular interiors and similar covers. Okay, let's see. Okay, questions. What is the price range on my journals? E.S. Hart asks. The price range on my journals are typically I do $6.99. A lot of it depends on the number of pages I do. If it's just a line journal, then it's definitely going to be $6.99. I do have a few in niches where and it goes against everything I believe in, but where everybody else in that particular niche are trying to make pennies, and I'm trying to make dollars. But in order to stay competitive, yes, there are a couple that I have down in the in the $5.99 range where I'm not making much, but I mean, those are few and far between. Most of them are $6.99. If they have a complex interior, then some of those I have priced up to $10.99. I actually, my softball journal, for the longest time I had it priced at $7.99. my and again, especially if you know your niche, you're going to know what are the hot seasons and what are not. So, besides the holidays, pretty much hot for everything. But, when it comes to softball, the summertime is definitely going to be hotter than, no pun intended, but I'm going to sell more going into summer than I am going into the fall. So I will bump up my price around that time, kind of like gas stations do. I'll bump it up maybe $1 to. I had it at $7.99. I have bumped it up to $8 or even $9.99, and then as sales start to decline, I may bump it down to only $6.99, just so I can get some sales in there. So I adjust it, but majority of them are at the $6.99, $7.99 range, assuming they're only the blank line journals. If they're have a complex interior, then I do usually $7.99 or more, depending on how many pages are in it, how complex it is, and how proven it is in that particular niche. So if I have it at $7.99 or $8.99 and I'm selling them like hotcakes, then I'm going to bump it up to probably $9.99 or even $10.99 and see, I'm going to get a drop in sales, but as long as my profit outbalances the drop of sales, then I'll still keep it at that. And I'll try to find that little sweet spot. But I hope that answered your question. Let's see. Montana Diva Creations. Mo money, baby. I tried $250 profit and up. Depends on the niche. Think about people shopping and paying more for stuff that they can get way cheaper. Yeah, it is a psychology. Absolutely. And so, again, a lot of people, like I said, if it's too low, they automatically have a negative thought about it and they just go right by it. And you're going to get people that are always going to buy the cheap stuff, and that's fine. They're, the ones that, and there's nothing against this, but I mean, like I shop at the dollar store too, but when you get something at the dollar store, you can't be surprised when it breaks. So, there is, people understand that. And so, if you decide that you're going to put out garbage, and I suggest you don't, but if you decide you're going to put out garbage, price it where you're only making a few pennies, but don't take a book that you spend a lot of time on and put that down making pennies. You've put the time and effort into it, you should charge more for it. And just, again, find that sweet spot. But definitely during the holidays, you can bump your prices up because people will pay it. I wouldn't bump it up too drastically, but again, just, bump it up $1. If people are still buying it, bump it up $2 until you find out when the amount of money you're making, when the sales drop off too much, then obviously you've probably got a price too high, and then you can just drop it back down. Kelly Publish. I have some of those gift giving, and I have seen really good ranks on those during the holidays. Yeah, during the holidays, everything seems to sell. Even ones that are garbage. I at least get a couple sales for, and that's why I strongly suggest when you first started doing no content books, even if they are garbage, don't delete them, don't unpublish them, leave them up there. If no one buys it, it doesn't hurt you just to leave it up there. So just leave it up there, and whatever comes in on it comes in on it. But if you don't think it's worth spending a lot of your time on, I wouldn't spend time updating it or anything else. Just make a new version of it. Let's see. AQR Mars Bar, welcome. 2 questions. All right, so 2 questions. 1, how much are you making per month, if you feel comfortable disclosing that? Have you had any experience in making the price higher on journals, which means you need to sell less? I think I just covered that. As far as how much I make, I'm not going to give you the exact numbers, but I will say this. I make enough to keep me interested, not enough to do this full time. But the moment I go from part-time publishing to full-time publishing, you guys will be the first to know. Well, besides my wife. And as far as have I priced it higher? Yeah, I think I just covered that. Yes, I have priced some of my books higher, and even though I know I'm going to get less sales from it, I don't make drastic price jumps. I won't take it from $6.99 and jump it up to $10.99. I will do typically $1 increments, and I will leave it at that for at least a few weeks, if not, a month or so. Again, depending on the niche, depending on if there's a specific cycle with that particular niche, and see how it changes the amount of sales that come in. Typically, and I'm lucky with that particular niche, softball, and if you do your particular passion, your niche better. With mine, I may not get any sales for 2 or 3 weeks, and then some coach or parent or whoever will come in and buy a team's worth of journals. So it's, as far as when they come in, depending on the niche, is few far between, which is why I make sure that if I make a price change, I make sure I leave it out there at that new price for at least a couple weeks, if not a month to a month and a half, just to see how it affects the price, the sales, if at all. And if I see my sales are still coming in at a steady amount, then I'll bump it up even more. And again, once I start seeing a drastic drop, then I'll figure out, is that drastic drop enough is the profit I'm making enough to justify that drastic drop? If not, I'll lower the price a bit. Man, I get some great questions today. Great questions. Montana Diva Creations, realizing most things made in China are like $1 and people selling them for 25 and up, understanding markup value comes from FBA side. Yeah, that's another good thing. When you're doing your bullet points, make sure, if you're in the United States, make sure you post in there designed in the USA. People care about that. With all the stuff that's going that is bought and created overseas, people care to see that USA, that tag saying that it was made in the USA. I wouldn't say made in the USA. I would say designed in the USA, created in the USA, however you want to word it. But I usually say the word designed, just so that way, again, it's something that people see and it's worth noting, because people care about that. What's the longest time it took you to design a more complex journal? Now I'm not going to tell you how long it took me as far as like in general, like sitting down doing it, because like I said, I do this part-time. So, I may spend, 2 hours today and, 3 hours tomorrow, depending. But I would say I usually don't spend more than 10, 12 hours on any given interior. For the ones I have, I think the most I've spent has probably been the 12-hour mark. And I did that over a matter of probably 4 or 5 days, just because of my schedule. But again, the great thing is regardless of how much time you spend on it, even if it takes you a week, once you've done it, you've got it. And so you just, you save it and you've got it for any future iterations. So again, if if it's a new niche that you're not too familiar with, then, maybe you don't want to do, maybe you don't want to spend 12 hours on it. Maybe you only want to spend a couple hours and make something similar to what your end goal is, and see if there's sales for that. And then if there's sales for that, then you can make the new edition of it, which you could probably charge more for because it's got more content than what you did originally. And that way you at least can justify spending that extra time. Amazing question. Great question. Let's see. Kelly Publish. Yes, you never know what is going to sell in the future. When I get my Create Space report, I see some titles on there and I'm like, when in the heck did I make that? LOL. Absolutely. Like I said, my first journal, that's my biggest seller. So I remember, I know exactly when I created that in November 2016. But yeah, there's other ones where I'm like, it's not even so much when did I make it, but it's like, did I make that? Like, I don't even remember making it. So yeah, it's definitely, like I said, don't take anything down unless you have something that's completely like outdated. Then, and even then, I mean, like if you've got something that says, if it's a planner for 2016, leave it up there. There are people that, may be cleaning their house, at the end of the year, and they have a 2016 planner that's all tore up, and, they want the information that's in it, but they don't want to keep that because it's disgusting looking. They may buy yours and just copy everything back over into it. So you never know. So absolutely, I don't take anything down. AQA Mars Bar, awesome. Thanks, Keith. Real good channel you're running here. I'm glad you like the channel. Like I said, I'm not. I'll still be around. I'll still be answering questions, and it's just temporary that I'll be on hiatus. But yeah, thank you so much. Um, Designed in the USA. Yeah, ESR. Yeah, I do that on all of my covers. So if you see a cover, I mean, I use pen name personally. I've got a couple that I use, and depending on what my niche is, but yeah, all of them on the. And again, I don't, going back to what I was saying about the description. My descriptions are pretty short. I mean, sometimes I've seen descriptions where there's not even a sentence at the top or bottom. It's literally just a bullet list of, how many pages it is, whether it's matte or glossy, basically almost exactly what they can see from the product description. But some people don't know about that product description and they don't look at it. So, and you can tell that in some of the comments, because people will get it and then they'll be like, they'll leave a comment or they'll leave a bad review saying that they didn't know it was going to be paperback. Well, I mean, it's paperback. So I don't put paperback in my descriptions, in my bullet points, but I definitely do. I will put whether it's what the finish is on it, how many pages it is, whether it's a blank line journal. Again, if it's not a blank line journal, if there's anything unique about it, absolutely put it there, because and I even will put that in bold so people can see and draw attention to the fact that it's not just blank lines. And if there's spots to put, like if you're doing a guest book, spots to put name and comments, but then like if you've got I've seen comments, negative comments on other people's guest books where they say, I wish there was a spot for the date. Maybe I own an Airbnb or whatever. So then, if yours says date, guest, and comments, then absolutely draw attention to that, because that's what makes yours stand out from the other ones in the group. Let's see. Yeah, Montana Diva Creations, never thought of the USA branding. Good one. Thank you. Good idea. Sandra, got it. So do you plan out in your head how the journal will look, or do you improvise as you do it? Yes. I don't, I've got way too much stuff up in here. It's scary. So I may plan it out in my head to begin with. First, I never leave it up there because it won't stay. It'll be gone. So I'll draw it on a piece of paper, but as I'm doing it and I'm looking at it, once you see something physically, it's like, okay, that doesn't look right there. Or you may look at it and be like, oh, this looks plain. I don't like how this page doesn't really have enough going on. So, I might put an actual image in there, or, I might add different things that I think are relevant to that particular group. And, for that will be useful. I don't put something in there just as filler. I've got to make sure that it's, even if it's just something as simple as, like, if you can't think of anything that's actually useful for an interior, but you still have this space that you want to do something with, put in relevant quotes for that particular niche. So it's not just a blank area, but you're not just putting something in there that the user is not going to use, because that will definitely be a negative comments that you'll get, is that there's this whole section that I it's not even relevant to me, so I don't even use it. So the person, when they're buying something, they want to get the full use out of it as possible. So if you have this blank area, even if you don't want to put a quote there, depending on what your niche is, you can put a little box there and just put a prompt where they can draw something there or write down information there, whatever you want to do. But again, it will be tailored to your niche. So yes, I will write it down on a piece of paper and visualize it. But once I'm actually making it, definitely there's a lot of changes that I make and tweaks. And it's kind of like me with writing. I know Dale and I talked about that before, but there's plotters and pantsers. People that plot everything out, and then people who just write by the seat of their pants. And I'm what I call a pantser, or I'm actually more like a plotzer, where I'll plot certain things out, but once I'm in there, I just I fill the rest in as I go, because that's the creative part. That's the part that I love. Okay. Montana Diva Creations. I don't have as many as Kelly, but yes, I have that experience. I totally forgot what I made months ago. Then I'm impressed with my skills all over again. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've sold some, and I actually have some that are out. Giving away all my niches, but I have some that are out because of the back to school and stuff like that, and ones that I did last year for the back to school. I don't remember making them. And so every once in a while I'll get some sales from that, and I'm like, that's actually not that bad of a cover. Or that interior is not that shabby considering it was a year ago. So yeah, I get impressed sometimes with my older stuff. But yeah, it's funny to see something come back that you have absolutely no recollection of making. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Kelly published, have a great night. I got to edit some videos and pack for Orlando. Thanks a lot, Kelly. Great stream. Yeah, Kelly, glad that you came. I'm sorry I can't make it to Orlando, which really stinks because that's actually, for those people who don't know, I'm actually from around the Orlando, Florida area. And so I was hoping to be able to go down to BookNet Fest. If you are going to be in the Orlando area, it's really, really reasonably priced. I want to say including the meet and greet, it's like $35. And it's a Friday, Saturday. So both Kelly Publish and Mr. Kelly Publish, Dale L. Roberts, self-published with Dale, they will both be there. And I think Kim here will be there as well. Don't quote me on that, but I know those two will be there. So again, Orlando, this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So if you're going to be in the area, you should go hit that up. But I know if you're going to go to those particular, their particular ones that they're hosting, that space is limited. So make sure that you go to BookNet Fest and book early, well, as early as you can, considering the fact it's Wednesday. Okay, Montana Diva, safe journeys, yes. Yeah. Let's see. Light bulb moment, filling up spaces, Sandra. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad I could help with, and a lot of times, and that's one of the things that I love the most is these out of the box ideas that like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on up in here, and it's kind of scary sometimes. But yeah, just, like I said, quotes are really good. If people are reading something, even on a no content book, people are reading something and it works for them and it works for that particular niche, they don't even notice the fact that, oh, that was just a filler. They don't know that. They think it was there intentionally. So absolutely. Like I said, even if you just do a little box for them to draw in, or if it has to do with, if you're doing a journal that has to do with money, there could be a little section for them to actually, do their math in, because believe it or not, there's still people out there that do stuff, by hand. So again, just as long as you call it out what it's for, then it doesn't look like it was a placeholder. It looks like it was intentional. Let's see. Montana Diva Creations. I make $100 to $200 a week, so it is easy to forget. LOL. Q4 focused. Then I rest. Yes. Dude, that's nothing. I mean, $100 to $200 a week. That is books. $100 to $200 a week. Yeah, that's a lot. That's definitely more books than I do. I mean, like I said, I have done more in a week, but on average, I definitely don't do that much. But again, like you said, after Q4 you can rest. So, and again, it depends on your niche. If your niche is in fitness, then even after Q4 you're probably not going to be resting until at least somewhat after the New Year's, because that's when things really get big with people making New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. If you're not in that niche, well, then there's a little idea right there. Let's see. Sandra, seasonal ideas, so many. Planning now to release in holidays something that can be used for New Year's resolutions and Valentine's Day. There are so many holidays coming up. There are a lot of holidays coming up. And the other thing you want to keep in mind is again, with my, out of the box thinking, the not so national holidays. You can find lists on, just Google, and every day is something day, whether it's Pancake Day or, Best Friend Day, Nurses Day. You can make, a lot of people do this when, they're doing merch by Amazon and stuff like that. They'll make shirts for that. But you can do the same thing for journals. So, even though, Nurses Day, you may think, well, I mean, it's one day. What kind of journal do you do? Well, what kind of journals would a nurse want? To maybe track, you know, their days off, track, you know, especially if they're going to nursing school. My daughter's actually in nursing school right now, and so, well, one of my daughters, and so, there are definitely things that she has to keep track of when she's doing clinicals. So, Nurses Day, if you plan ahead, you can do no content books for just one specific day. Your boss's day, take your daughter to school day, whatever. So like I said, Google, come up with some ideas. And the thing is, especially if you pick some obscure ones that, you may not get a lot of sales, but if you're the only one doing it, you'll get more sales than anybody else, because yours is the only one out there, especially if it's a higher quality than the few that are out there. Let's see, Montana Diva Creations, LOL. I pick a niche a week. I focused hard on it, then move on. When things start to sell, then I circle back and may dive deeper down. But yes, I look at trends. Like the back to school was huge. Yeah, back to school was huge. I'm not going to go into detail as far as like what mine were, but yeah, back to school was definitely good for me. And it still is. I mean, there's still school. That's the other thing about back to school. There are some states and some cities that kids haven't even gone back to school yet. So, it's not like it's just an August thing. And then people who are homeschooled, that's a whole nother niche in and of itself if you want to do something like that. So yeah, again, think outside the box. If everybody else is doing Halloween, then, find some, you can do one or two Halloween books, but do something that's different. Especially if you're thinking more towards the children, these are notebooks that they can bring to school. It depends on the size of your book. I know, like I said, most of mine are either 8.5 by 11, which is for the either for the older people or for the little children, and then most of mine are 6 by 9. If you're looking to do stuff for school, then those are usually the composition size notebooks, which off the top of my head I don't know the particular dimensions, but it's like 7.5 inches or something like that, 7 3/4. So yeah, just again, you can actually Google what's the average size of a composition notebook. Actually, Wikipedia was really helpful when I did my no content interior videos. I actually went to Wikipedia and found a list of different type of no content books, and that's how I got the ideas for which types I want to include in my interiors in my videos, because I probably wouldn't have come up with all of those on my own. Especially the manuscript one, which is brilliant. I mean, it's really good for if you want to teach, teaching children both, younger kids, teaching them their alphabet on how to draw, A's and B's and their numbers, but also when they get a little older and they start working on, cursive, if they even teach that in school anymore, because I know some schools don't, that they can use that paper for that as well. And that's, it's called manuscript paper. I never would have thought of that, and it was really easy to make. Again, link to the playlist below, and yeah, you can just, it's they're not difficult to make, especially if you've already watched one of my videos and you see how to make the children's writing paper, which is the wider, even wider than wide world. This one is basically you take that and you do one additional step to it, and that's really it, and that makes it manuscript paper. So again, it's in the show notes below. Let's see. But getting back to Montana Diva Creations, one niche a week is crazy. Like I couldn't do that. But kudos to you for doing that, and again doing some and then circling back when they sell. Brilliant idea. Looking at your channel, I want to do more kids activity books and also some Kindle picture books for next year. Yeah. Children's books is kind of where my heart's at. I actually wrote my very first children's book 17 years ago for my youngest, or for my oldest rather, and it took me 17 years before I found an illustrator that I really liked. and I did a whole video on how I got the illustrator to do the entire cover and interior for free. That's I think that was one of my other live streams. There you go. But yeah, I love doing children's books, and children's books. I'm gonna give you a little insider thing. Children's books are actually an underutilized niche in audiobooks. So, a lot of people say, how do you make a children's picture book an audiobook? Figure that out, and because I actually have 3 of my children's books are an audiobook, and they sell pretty well because it's an untapped market right now. Dude, I'm giving away all my good information. Let's see, but that's because there's so many people in here, and I'm just so excited. So I want to make sure that I give you guys all the quality I can. Like I said, you guys are like family to me, so I'm not going to hold back within reason. Let's see. Good tips, everyone. Yes, everyone. The tips everybody's giving each other are amazing. This has been great, learning so much from everyone. Thank you, Jenny. Sandra, yes, it has for sure. Montana Diva Creations, yes, lots of gold nuggets. ES Hart, Keith, great live. I learned a lot, but I have to go back to work. I'll watch the rest of this on the replay. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, ES Hart, for sticking around. I can't believe we've actually been going over an hour. Normally they're so much shorter. So great content. Not just from me, but the feedback I'm getting from everybody else and all the great information you guys are giving is amazing. So let's see, Montana Diva Creations. My best-selling books are my nonfiction fact books for kids on Kindle. They have sold for 5 years. Love them. So audio is next. I have a good voice. Kids like me to read them. Yeah, if you can do your own audio for your audiobooks, and like if you're going to do it through ACX, make sure that you pay attention to their audio guidelines. If you can do that and you've got the voice for it, hey, go for it. Then you get the full 40% of the royalties. So I personally can't stand the sound of my voice, so I definitely don't do my own. I have a couple narrators that I use. My children's books are, especially if you do a series of children's books, try to be as consistent with the narrator as possible. Obviously, if it's you, then that's a given. But like my Buddy Knows series, all of them all have the same narrator, and then my Mimi has a completely different narrator. And so yeah, but and if you're doing your own audio, you might want to look at more than just ACX. There's Find a Way people or something like that. You'll have to Google it. Actually, check out Dale's channel. He talks about all those. Find a Way Voices, I think, is what it's called. And then there's Authors Republic. And I know that some of those, if not all of those, actually offer higher royalties than what ACX does. But they don't do the 25 free promo codes, 25 free US, 25 free UK promo codes. And the reason why ACX can do that is because Audible is owned by Amazon. So they're able to do that kind of added promotion to help you out. So if you are doing your own audio for your audiobook, absolutely look into the other ones, see what their royalties percentages are, and see what their requirements are, their specifications for your audio. Completely off topic, but great point. Let's see, can you do public domain books on audio? Many older kids' books in the public domain. I will talk to Dale and the twins. Yes, you absolutely can. And I say that because if you go on Audible, you'll see there's people that are doing Swiss Family Robinson and Shakespeare's plays and stuff like that are definitely not they're definitely not the original authors. So yeah, they're public domain. A matter of fact, I even think Alice in Wonderland, there's a couple different versions of that, which I don't understand how you as someone that wants to listen to it, how you're going to choose. But the good thing is that they, at least with ACX, they'll have the sample, the retail sample, what they call it, where someone can listen in. And so I guess they just pick the voice that they like the most. So if your voice, like you said, everybody loves, all the kids love the sound of it, then yeah, absolutely do that, and and try it with the um, the public domain books, and let us know how it works out. Make sure you leave the comments and let me know, because I'm interested. I probably am not going to do any of the public domains. Before you go too deep into doing one of those, I would suggest going onto Audible, searching for that particular book, and see how many are already out there. Because obviously, if there's already 20 or 30 versions of it, you're probably better off focusing on a different book. So just some thoughts about that. Wow, this has been an exciting 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I'm extremely happy with the fact that my audio and my visual were all great. Does anybody have any more questions about no content books, about really anything? I know we mainly focused on no content books, but but if you have questions about anything else, I'll give you a couple more minutes. If not, like I said, if you think of something later, as I said, yes, I am going to be going on emphasis on temporary hiatus, so I can deal with some family stuff, and so I can focus hard and heavy on making fourth quarter as successful as possible for my family. But I will still be commenting on responding to every single comment I get. I'll still be available if I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram at K Wheeler Books for both of those. You can find me on Facebook. I actually run a Facebook group. It's called Review Mates. If you want to join, feel free. Make sure you answer the 3 questions. I'm not really a big stickler for rules, but it's only 3 questions, and there's no trick questions in there. So just answer them honestly, and I'll let you in. We've got almost 770 people in the group, so it's pretty exciting. And I usually will post there pretty much every day, Monday through Friday. So it's more than just reviews. It's basically just authors helping authors. But yeah, so I'm going to be, like I said, I'll comment. I'll respond to every comment. I'll be available on social media. But as far as I'm just not going to be doing regular weekly videos or live streams right now. But like I said, I'll probably be posting some videos here and there, especially if I see something new in the industry that, like I said, my fellow writers, you guys mean the world to me. So if there's anything that I think you guys need to know, and my perception of it may be different than everybody else's, I will absolutely do a video on that. But let's see. I saw a couple more reviews, or a couple more comments come in. Montana Diva Creations, you got to jump. Thanks so much for the brain dump. So much actionable information. Yes, absolutely. Have a successful Q4. Thank you so much for being here. Underground Toy Society, do you put no content books in color or black and white to make them printed cheaper? My interiors, I do black and white. Even the ones that have, like my softball one, there's a couple little illustrations in there. I absolutely still do them in black and white. I've tried doing them in color, and the price point that I would have to sell it for is just crazy. It also depends on the length of your book and what is expected in your particular niche. If you can get away with charging, $15 or something like that for a book, and it's enough to where you're making a reasonable amount of royalty off of it, kind of what Montana Diva Creations was saying. I try to do well, she said $2.50. I try to do $2 or more per book, again depending on the niche. But yeah, so I typically will do just black and white to make it so it prints cheaper. Let's see. Black Moon 2004. Great content, Keith, throughout the whole hour and 20 minutes. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you can't tell already, I had a blast. Again, if you haven't already and you're still sticking around, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Drop kick that bell icon, not literally, but give it a smashy. Give it a thumbs up. And until next time, I'm Keith Wheeler, and remember to write right.